What's going on, everybody? Welcome in here, Rover Sports. I haven't had an electric razor in a long time. I got to go to a drugstore, pay good old $60 for an electric razor. I look like the bear. Hashtag Rover Sports, the bear, my old nickname. But anyway, guys, just gonna unleash a little 7-minute live stream, just updating on the NFL. Sam Darnold gets traded. First, we'll cover Baylor. Baylor wins the national championship. It's awesome. I didn't want Gonzaga to be undefeated, be one of the best teams of all time. But Sam Darnold gets traded to the Carolina Panthers. This is all that they could get for Sam Darnold, I'll tell you that much. This is all that they could get for Sam Darnold. He's not a good quarterback. I don't care that he had Adam Gase. I don't care that he didn't have any wide receivers. He has no talent throwing the ball down the field. He can't get out of the pocket. I don't know why the Panthers didn't try to trade for James Morgan, who's a better quarterback on the Jets roster. I don't know why the Panthers didn't try to trade for Jacob Eason, but this is all the Jets could get for Sam Darnold. The Pittsburgh didn't want him. Nobody wanted him. It just shows you the value of Darnold was basically a second-round pick. The Jets get a fourth and a second-round pick next year. Pretty much nothing for Sam Darnold. Carolina, they're going to be stuck starting Sam Darnold because they did give up 3 draft picks in the process for Sam Darnold. So they're going to be rolling with Sam. It sucks for Joe Brady because Joe Brady was going to get a head coaching job in the NFL, and maybe he still will. You look at Matt LaFleur. You look at what Matt LaFleur did with Tennessee. He was okay with Tennessee, but the Packers scouted him very well in the process, and the Packers picked a great head coach that has led the Packers to a freaking 2 straight NFC championships right on the doorsteps of Super Bowls. So I still think Joe Brady's going to get his opportunity, but you look at Carolina, they're absolutely screwed. They're going to be playing against Matt Ryan, Tom Brady. You still have the Saints, and the Marshawn Lattimore situation. He ended up getting arrested in Ohio. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. We have to monitor that situation. We have to see if Lattimore's going to be eligible to play next year because he ended up getting arrested. Same with Jeff Gladney of the Vikings, but Lattimore's a much better player for the New Orleans Saints. But anyway, let's talk about Sam Darnold in this offense in Carolina. Carolina, you have a running back who's okay. Your offensive line is not very good. I think your wide receivers are honestly overrated. I think DJ Moore hasn't exactly put together the stats that we all want to see DJ Moore have. I think he's off and on in games. He's a good wide receiver 2. He's a wide receiver 3. He's not a wide receiver 1. And the New York Jets, Joe Douglas, what he's done with the Jamal Adams trade was brilliant. And now he trades Sam Darnold. And the Jets are getting a massive, the Jets are going to get Zach Wilson, a great talent, a guy who works really hard. I think that's what John Beck has said. I actually don't know how Zach Wilson works, okay? I think that Zach Wilson is a great talent at the position of quarterback. I think that he's mobile. I think he's very accurate. I think his throwing motion is very efficient. So I think the New York Jets are making a great decision. Now I'm going to talk about the Denver Broncos and Drew Lock. I think that Drew Lock should stay in Denver, but apparently Pat Shurmur doesn't like him. George Patton has been flirting with getting rid of Drew Lock for a very long time. The Broncos were involved in the Stafford deals. They were involved in the Deshaun Watson trades. And I know that the Denver Broncos are going to be interested in either Justin Fields or Trey Lance at the 4th overall spot. I really think that Shurmur in Denver, they're going to like Justin Fields or Trey Lance. I'm trying to think for Denver, which is a better option. Is it Trey Lance or Justin Fields? It's a tough choice. I would go with Trey Lance as a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I just think his throwing motion is more crisp. I think that he's good in power running game situations. I think that also, you do have Courtland Sutton, so you can throw the ball up to Courtland Sutton. I think that Trey Lance can play really well outside of schedule. I think that also for the Atlanta Falcons, they can end up getting Drew Lock. And you know what they could do with Drew Lock is they can end up mentoring Drew Lock behind Matt Ryan, because I think Drew Lock can do everything that Matt Ryan can do. And then Atlanta, Atlanta has a lot of options. They can either trade with the Patriots and get 3 first-round picks, and it's funny. I think that Drew Lock is still really good. I mean, we all look at Drew Lock and Sam Darnold differently because Darnold played in the bigger market. Darnold was a top 5 pick, whereas Drew Lock was a second-round pick. So when you're a second-round pick like Jalen and Drew Lock, you already have 1 foot out the door in the National Football League. So when you're a second-round pick at the quarterback position, the odds of you succeeding are very, very slim. You look at Deshaun Kaiser, has never gotten a chance again in the NFL after 1 year of total dysfunction and with an awful coach. So when you're a second-round pick, the odds of you succeeding at playing quarterback in the NFL is pretty much almost zero. So for Drew Lock, he was injured the last couple of years. It's been unfortunate for him. I think that he has a massive amount of talent. I love how he can throw the football. I think that he can roll outside of the pocket. I think that he can lead his teammates. And listen, he's dealt with, I think different head coaches. Well, he dealt with the same coach, different coordinators all the time. And I think that Denver, what George Patton is trying to do, George Patton has never been a GM before. He lets go of a fan favorite in Philip Lindsay. He lets go of a fan favorite in Philip Lindsay for an aging running back in Melvin Gordon that fumbles basically every single game and basically destroys games with his fumbling, and just an older running back that is just a fumbling turnover machine. So I think that Drew Lock can end up going to Atlanta, would be a really good choice, or Atlanta could trade with the Patriots. I think Atlanta's making a great decision because you don't know what San Francisco and the Jets are going to do. But listen, there are other quarterback classes. You don't want to have your 4th pick of a quarterback be. You don't want to select your 4th quarterback on the board potentially. Just for the sake of drafting a quarterback. You have a rookie head coach, a rookie general manager, just like Detroit is doing with Brad and Dan. I really think that Arthur and Terry should take that footprint of what's going on with the Lions. You have a rookie head coach and a rookie GM. You let Matt Ryan have another year. You have the flexibility going forward with draft picks. I think that Denver is going to trade up, and also the Patriots are. You look at the Patriots too, like say that you look at Justin Fields and he's not perfect. I think that Fields is going to be a better quarterback than Cam Newton. Justin Fields right now is healthier than Newton. He can roll outside of the pocket. He's just a younger quarterback that hasn't dealt with the injuries yet. So you look at Justin in New England would be really interesting. You also look at Trey Lance in New England, and Belichick is putting all his chips in now. So, there's this myth in the NFL that you have to draft a franchise quarterback. You just have to draft a quarterback that, has the ability. You just have to draft a quarterback that pretty much can win within the first 4 years of his contract. And I think that Fields and Lance can do that. Now, do you think that Trey Lance is going to, do you think that he's going to be able to lead you to a championship early? I think that Fields and Trey Lance are 2 guys that are ready to play immediately. I think that Trey Lance, you can play him immediately. I also think Trey Lance, I think that he'll also, with his mobility, the NFL has never seen Trey Lance. I think that Trey Lance will dominate early on in his career. I do. I think that the Patriots, if they get Fields or Lance, they're going to be good. I mean, you also look at the Patriots tight ends, what they're going to be able to have for these 2 quarterbacks that they're going to either have. You have Geno Smith and Hunter Henry. You have Nelson Aguilar. You have Kendrick Bourne, who can get open in the slot. The Patriots have tons of weapons. So you look at Cam Newton. His shoulder is not that great. He's injured a lot. He's an aging quarterback. I think you got to go with one of these two options at the quarterback position. Gives you a better chance to win than Cam Newton. And also the Patriots, with the money they're spending now, those draft picks in the future don't mean a whole lot. Belichick is better with free agents. He is better in that capacity. The Patriots shouldn't be gearing up for the future. They're a win-now team with the money that they spent on Hunter Henry, Kyle Van Noy, Matthew Judon. Okay? The Patriots are a win-now team, and that's why they need to get a quarterback that is healthier than Cam Newton, and that is either Trey Lance or Justin Fields. These are two of the most these two quarterbacks are ready to play in the NFL right now. Okay? I even think that they're going to be more effective within the first 4 years than they're going to be towards the last 11 years of this thing. Okay? And plus, you get a quarterback like Lance or Fields, they ball out in the first couple of years. If you don't love them to lead your franchise, then guess what? You trade back into the first round and you get a quarterback. You don't have to be married to a quarterback, the whole franchise quarterback, be married to him for 15 years. You just need to win. The Patriots are a win-now team, okay? They are ready to do this. They have the culture in place. They need a mobile quarterback. And guess what? You have Justin Fields, Cam Newton, or you have Trey Lance. You just add another good quarterback to the mix because they don't have a backup quarterback, and Cam Newton's been hurt the last several years, and they're putting Jarrett Stidham in at the end of games because they're getting their ass blown out. So the Patriots definitely need to trade up. I mean, the Patriots, they took N'Keal Harry over A.J. Brown. They don't know how to scout wide receivers anyway. For the Denver Broncos, they're treating Drew Lock like crap. That's what the Denver Broncos are doing. They don't care about Drew Lock at all. Drew Lock is not in their plans. Drew Lock's getting disrespected. So for Drew Lock, I mean, he's either going to be traded. You look at where he can be traded to. He could be traded to Atlanta very possibly. I think that Atlanta can get 2 firsts in Drew Lock. And then Denver's either going to take Trey Lance or they're going to take probably Justin Fields, but they're probably going to take Trey Lance at the number 4th overall pick. It's going to be very interesting to see how Trey Lance leads this Broncos team. I think it could potentially be very, very good. I mean, we're going to have to see what ends up happening. But UCF Jaguars in the chat. So many great people are in this chat. I mean, I'll explain how the Panthers are screwed, okay? They went from possibly getting Deshaun Watson and Matthew Stafford to getting a quarterback that cannot throw the ball a lick in Sam Darnold. Other than one throw against the Dallas Cowboys, Darnold did nothing. Okay, you look at what Deshaun Watson did with Bill O'Brien. He took that franchise. Will Fuller's getting injured, okay? The point is, Deshaun Watson did so much with so little. Okay, you look at Tom Brady went 11-5 with practice squad wide receivers. Okay, look at what Baker Mayfield ended up doing when Odell Beckham was injured, okay? Sam Darnold had Le'Veon Bell, a top-led running back in the National Football League. Okay, Sam Darnold had Rashad Perriman. Okay, listen. Okay, now I'm getting carried away. Okay, who did Sam Darnold really had? He had Crowder. He's getting paid $9 million. Sam Darnold did nothing. He got beat by the Jaguars 2 years ago, Sam Darnold, okay? Sam Darnold, first of all, this year with Darnold, he did absolutely nothing. Their red zone numbers were horrible. Is Darnold mobile? No. He only had one good Rose Bowl, and he's a USC quarterback that literally has a tiny bit of mobility. The Jets fans should have zero hang up over this trade. Okay? Because Darnold did nothing for the New York Jets. He just gave them those crappy uniforms. And I could say more. But Darnold gave them those awful uniforms. That's all Darnold did for the New York Jets. He did nothing. There was no leadership. There was no accountability. He was nothing but a losing quarterback. He was responsible for the most losing seasons in Jet history. That's what Sam Darnold did. He did nothing. And now you're getting a quarterback in Zach Wilson, more mobile, can throw on the run. Zach Wilson can throw 60 yards on the run, rolling right or left. Zach Wilson is an electric quarterback. And Zach Wilson, you look at Sam Darnold's junior year, Darnold was a turnover machine at USC. Sam Darnold had some talent that he was playing with at USC. But you look at Zach Wilson, okay, what he did with Jeff Grimes and Dak Milner and all these other guys, and then they make fun of Zach Wilson for losing to Coastal Carolina when BYU scheduled the game 3 days away from the game, okay? He was going up against Jeffrey Gunter. He was going up against a really good Coastal Carolina team. And by the way, he was getting cheap shotted in that game, and he still had a chance to win that game. So Jet fans want to act like Sam Darnold's so young that he still has this potential. That's just fans that are trying to save face for what was a draft process. Sam Darnold has been there, 2 or 3 years now? He has not been on the field that much. He is injury prone. And Sam Darnold, they're going to act like Adam Gase ruined him just like Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill is a more athletic quarterback. He can throw the ball a little bit further than Sam Darnold. And guess what? Ryan Tannehill's an okay quarterback in the NFL. This whole Adam Gase narrative is just wrong. Okay, so you know what? You're going to watch Zach Wilson come into that offense. And the Carolina Panthers are screwed because Matt Rule, okay, they had a decent first season. Darnold's going to lead them into, they're going to be awful with Sam Darnold these next few years. Plus, they're giving the Jets a free second-round pick for a quarterback that is not going to be on their roster. Sam Darnold, put me down for this. Sam Darnold will not be a good starting quarterback with the Carolina Panthers. Put me down for that. If he is, congrats to Sam Darnold, because guess what? Is Darnold a nice kid? Yes. Did Darnold represent New York with class? He did. But guess what? Is he a really good quarterback? That he is not. Carolina went from Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford to a backup quarterback. And they knew Atlanta would not trade with them at number 8 because they're division rivals. That's what's happening. So what did Sam Darnold do in these first 2 years that gives you any proof that Sam Darnold could be a good quarterback in the NFL? There is nothing tangible that Sam Darnold did. You're just saying magically because people are leaving that Adam Gase is no longer coaching him, that Joe Brady, the Wonder Boy, is coaching him, that suddenly Sam Darnold in the NFL is going to click. He did nothing to show that. Nothing. Okay? If you're a great player, you rise above your coaches. You rise above all that other stuff. He showed no ability. Outside of the pocket, in structure, he showed nothing. So everybody's pretending that Sam Darnold, that this light switch is going to just magically come on. He's shown you nothing, okay, in New York. And by the way, for New York Jet fans, Sam Darnold might have never worked in New York, just like Ryan Tannehill might have never worked in New York. Everybody just makes so many excuses for Sam Darnold at USC, the USC quarterback, the 3rd round pick. The media loves Sam Darnold, and I'm here to say that Darnold's not that good of a quarterback. The Panthers end up giving, I think Teddy Bridgewater is a much better quarterback. I think Jacob Eason is a much better quarterback. I don't think Sam Darnold's that good. I think that the Jets moving on and getting Zach Wilson, Joe Douglas is a brilliant general manager. He traded Jamal Adams when Jamal Adams was not being a great teammate, when Jamal Adams was whiny, and when he was not there for the rebuild. They end up getting 2 first-round picks for that. Then they get a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick. You know it was a 2nd-round pick? You can get a great wide receiver in the 2nd round. You look at Denzel Mims. You look at T. Higgins. You look at A.J. Brown. You look at DK Metcalf. Okay, 2nd round wide receivers are going to be phenomenal. And also that Panthers are not even going to be very good next year. This is absolutely tremendous. The New York Jets, they are New York because they're mostly Long Island people, where the Giants are mostly North Jersey people. So there you go. Entertainer, how are you, man? I love your content, man. I'm just ranting off about Sam Darnold. I think that the Carolina Panthers are not getting a good quarterback in Sam Darnold. I do not believe in Sam Darnold. They're giving a second and a fourth rounder away. The Jets get a lot of value. They get the most value for a quarterback that has shown absolutely no production. And now the Panthers are left. They went, you know what they went from getting Carolina? They went from possibly getting Lance Fields, Deshaun Watson. They went from getting Mac Jones. They ended up, and now they're stuck with their 6th option, Sam Darnold. They absolutely, you know what happened? You know what happened with Carolina? They absolutely got bamboozled in this process. And you look at what's going to happen with the number 4 overall pick. Brilliant move by the Carolina Panthers. Instead of getting your 4th choice at a quarterback, you and your rookie head coach and GM get to actually unpack their bags and relax. Matt Ryan, take a breather, Atlanta. Take a breather and let Terry and Arthur build this thing and let them have a future. Stay a while. Relax. Go ahead and get some lobster bisque, some French onion soup. Go ahead and get some appetizers and unpack your bags. Stay a while. Thank you, Atlanta. You are making a good decision in this process. You do not, you know what you do not do? You do not get your 4th option at the quarterback position. How many times are there 4 great quarterbacks in a draft? No way. No way. How many times are there 4 good quarterbacks? I can't name a draft with 4 good quarterbacks. The most there are is 3 quarterbacks. Kyle Shanahan is a brilliant quarterback evaluator. He made it work with RG3. He made it work with Matt Ryan. Jimmy Garoppolo, we got to a Super Bowl. So you are going to rely on a quarterback that Kyle Shanahan passes on. That is not Zach Wilson. That is not at the caliber of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, one of the top 5 greatest college quarterbacks. You're going to rely on the 4th best quarterback in this draft? No way. No way. You are not in a win now position. Your defense needs an overhaul. Dan Quinn was a disaster defensively. You got to let your defense, you got to let this thing breathe. You got to let it grow. And that is why Atlanta is making the right decision in this process. But you look at Darnold, you look at the Panthers. Are Panthers fans excited about football? I don't think so. I think that Trey Lance goes to Denver. I think Justin Fields can very well be headed up to New England with Josh McDaniels. I mean, the connections between Cam Newton and Justin Fields, it is tremendous. Both Atlanta guys living in Boston, Massachusetts. That is going to be a heck of a time for Justin Fields and Cam Newton. I mean, that will be, then you will have a very healthy quarterback room. So it's going to be amazing, this entire draft process. Again, I appreciate you guys watching this show. I know that I'm a little bit emotional on this show, but it's sports, and it's really fun to be emotional. It is not as much fun to just be... So, I want to thank the entertainer for coming on. He's tremendous, UCF Jaguar. But, of course, all of the other subscribers and videos, Manny Flo, all of them. So, hey, Tater, Phillies 4-0, baby. Oh, man, it is fun. Manny Flo, the Raiders fan. And this has been great. We'll see. I can't wait. Guess what? Sam Darnold. Guess what? If Sam Darnold balls out in Carolina, I'll be the first one to come and congratulate Sam Darnold on doing it. Sam Darnold can use this as motivation because Sam Darnold is salt of the earth. He's a great kid. And it has nothing to do with his personality off the field. He represented the Jets really well. And he's going to get, listen, if he can't do it with Joe Brady, when else is he going to do it? You get McCaffrey. So that's the thing, is that I don't believe in the skill set, but it's, we're going to have to see what ends up happening. But you're the New York Jets. You turn the page. It's a new head coach. Okay, it's a new GM. It's a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Zach Wilson in the Big Apple. Zach Wilson has massive ability. Massive ability. And I think Zach Wilson is going to be so much fun for Jets fans that they are going to forget about the last era of football. I think Zach Wilson, he can throw on the run. He can throw with touch. Zach Wilson can escape the pocket. He knows how to slide from playing baseball. Okay, he has the proper height for the position. And I think his throwing motion is really clean. So I think that Zach Wilson, okay, at BYU, in the cold weather, Zach Wilson last year had no bad games at all in college. You can say that Justin Fields had games against Northwestern and Indiana where he was inconsistent. And yes, Northwestern and Indiana are better teams than what Zach Wilson played. Who was a better college quarterback? It's no comparison. It's Justin Fields. Justin Fields led them to national championships, to the college football playoff, okay? But I think that Zach Wilson's throwing motion is a little cleaner than Justin Fields. I think that Zach Wilson the guy, I just think that he has kind of those Aaron Rodgers-like potential. Ralph, I'll name a quarterback. It was Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington beat the Indianapolis Colts. Chad Pennington killed in the playoffs. Chad Pennington was a very efficient quarterback with Curtis Martin. Chad Pennington made the playoffs several years. Chad Pennington led the Dolphins to one of their only division championships in the last 25 years. Mark Sanchez as well. Mark Sanchez, too, has 4 playoff wins, probably equaling the total of Phillip Rivers. He went and beat Phillip Rivers on the road. He beat Tom Brady on the road. They ended up, you know what happened with Mark Sanchez? They ended up bringing Tim Tebow. Rex Ryan couldn't run offensive football. He couldn't pivot. You also look at the running back. Thomas Jones got older. Mark Sanchez was a decent quarterback for the New York Jets. What ended up happening is that their defense got a lot worse because, kind of like Blake Bortles in Jacksonville, you know what ends up happening is that you can't rely on defenses to be really good for years at a time. You look at Trubisky. You know what happened with Trubisky? You know what happened with Trubisky is that everybody thought that Bears defense would be ever so powerful when defenses can only sustain for about a year or two. You look at the Bucs defense. You look at the Bucs defense back to with Brad Johnson. Brad Johnson won a championship. So, listen, I think that Sanchez was fine. They could have actually had Sanchez for a couple of years and then traded him. The Jets are not a good organization. Woody Johnson and Chris Johnson, they're absolutely horrible owners. It doesn't mean that Sam Darnold is going to go to another location and be a great quarterback. Just like Mark Sanchez went to Chicago and Washington was not a better quarterback. Sick 'em Bears. Because Urban Meyer was at that pro day. That's why. Urban Meyer was at that pro day. That's why. Okay? Urban Meyer was at the Trevor Lawrence pro day. So I really think the Jets, okay, you have Robert Saleh, okay. One, he's a great players coach. He's the opposite of Adam Gase, okay. 2, you're getting a great quarterback in Zach Wilson that I really think is absolutely tremendous. So you also have Denzel Mims that was hurt most of last year. That is a 6'3" wide receiver that could be a stud, okay? You also have a guy, in Westo. Who else? Their tight end got hurt last year. So I think that they also have a first-round pick, okay, later on in this process. They end up, the Virginia Tech cornerback could very well be a solid cornerback that they ended up drafting last year. They do need a running back in this draft. I think that ETN would be really good. Yeah, they have. I'm telling you, I think Zach Wilson's a lot better than Trevor Lawrence. I agree with the Jets wholeheartedly. And guess what? It's a good thing for Sam Darnold. He gets to go down to Carolina, beautiful city, beautiful place, and he gets to hang out down there with Joe Brady and Matt Rule. Matt Rule loves himself some Sam Darnold. So all you Darnold fans, you got to be happy. Sam Darnold got out. You're going to have a chance to watch Darnold and Zach Wilson next year. Hey, you might say I'm being unfair to Sam Darnold, but guess what? We're on YouTube. We talk sports for a living. We're unfiltered about these guys on the football field. We are unfiltered in our opinions about guys on the football field. And that is why people tune in to see what sometimes we have to say about guys on the football field. I agree. I think Denver should also give Drew Lock an opportunity with Shermer. Again, I think that they should get rid of Shermer. I don't think he's very good. Hey guys, Nichols is here. I really appreciate everybody tuning into the stream today. It was fun. There is a lot of drama in the NFL draft. You guys are big football fans, and it's been a good time. So everybody, thank you so much. Go get that. I got to get that electric razor. I got to spend another $65. I got to spend another $65 at the Rite Aid. Okay. You know what I'm going to also be doing? I'm also going to be getting, some body wash and a freaking razor. So, all right. Alrighty, guys. Thank you. Take care. Everybody have a wonderful day. And thanks for joining the live stream. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate that. All right.